Now and roll.
Hey guys, thank you for tuning in. Welcome to another episode of the EMPI Insider with your host, Cory Ryder.
Hey guys, love it. Love to see already people online kicking off the show, Eddie. I mean, it's sick. Audience already waiting, so I love it. We're already streaming live, so thank you guys so much again for tuning in to another episode of the EMPI Insider. Every time I think about it, man, we have a good time doing this stuff. We have really cool guests today. A lot of stuff to kind of chat about. There's been a lot of questions, so we're going to try to get through almost everything we possibly can. So to get kind of started and whatnot, I highly encourage you guys to follow us, EMPI Insider, on Facebook, but more importantly on the YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button, follow us, smash the notification bell. That way you'll stay up to date. We're streaming a lot of content, a lot of updates. Everything that we're starting to do is really feeding through the EMPI Insider YouTube page. So stay up to date with everything that we're doing here as an entity, what goes on behind the scenes with EMPI. It keeps us rolling, it keeps us going. So get those questions ready. We already see questions coming through, which is cool. Thank you so much. Brian Watts, thanks for checking in. I see you already tagging Sean Moore and Gavin Baker where to find this stuff. So very cool. DJ Eddie Express is on the mixer today. He's fielding questions and phone calls. He's monitoring the social media as well to feed those and interrupt when we can. And DJ Tissam is working on the engineering side, making sure that the feeds are good and that you guys are getting the good crisp audio. So let our guys know we're doing something different too this week. We are streaming it through Instagram on its own separate entity, feeding it through our mixer. So we're hoping you guys get it. You're probably on about a 5 to 10 second delay, but we'll do the best we possibly can and we'll stay up to roll. So with that being said, again, thank you so much for tuning in. Super excited to have our guest with us. You've seen him before. He's been on the show before and whatnot, but we have a special guest, Cory Mac, Top Fuel pilot or retired pilot or off-road czar, Havasu River rat, everything in between. So, just getting everything situated and let's bring him in, guys, and bring him on the feed. So we'll get it switched in. But yeah, man, it's very cool to get us rolling. So Cory, thank you for making it to come visit and hang out with us a little bit.
You guys know I love being here. This is definitely a part of me. And now that we've got so much going on the VW side, I just, the more I can do it, the more I can see, the more I can learn all the new ways everybody doing stuff. And being part of this deal is a lot of fun. And I love the new studio. You guys did an awesome job on this.
These guys really helped out. I mean, painted it, set it all up. Hosted guys like you and everything that we're trying to do. And again, the whole purpose of this insider thing is to give people a peek of what goes on behind the scenes of EMPI and to kind of peel back sins of the past and to kind of showcase what we're trying to do and really the just the advancements that we made, whether it was the acquisition of JC or the joining of Anthony Chico, who was on last week, or Rick Sadler now being here and Clyde Berg being here. I mean, there's so much stuff going on the daily basis and it's try to be infectious, right? And this is one way to do it.
It's very impressive. I mean, you guys have kept going out. You got guys like Jack, and it's just one thing at a time. And then the Clyde Berg deal really threw me over. I thought that is really cool. Great addition. I mean, as is everybody you've mentioned. So it's nice to see it kind of come back to where it's growing. It's going to grow the popularity, not only on the street, but at the drag strip itself. I mean, getting your name back out there. And EMPI is, for me, been around forever. So once I see you guys start doing this and, hey, we're buying this and we're going to get these guys in place, that excites a guy like me because I'm on the backside of my career and, would like to get, working on the 56 on the side, getting it ready, but to try to be part of it. And obviously I'm almost learning from scratch again because, it's been so long since I built a motor or even worked on a bug. And it's like, I'm looking in the garage going, okay, what should I do next? Well, this has to all be done. And, I better call Cory or I better call Jack or I better make sure I'm going to get the parts. So I make parts run down here at least once a week.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting part about the guys is he gets out of lunch. He gets out of buying lunch on occasion. So we're gonna catch him here. Don't forget your wallet next time. We're gonna but no, it's fun for us. It really is. I mean, again, speaking from you, it says a lot. But we're hearing it on the street. We get a lot of cool feedback. We're getting a lot of interesting comments. We're getting the embracement again. It's not so taboo to wear an EMPI shirt like it was just a few years ago. And I mean, with some of the stuff you're saying, I mean, I'm gonna have to talk to Peter and see if we get to recruit you next for the new face of the company. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun. And like I said, when I'm not on the show, I'm watching the show because I learned a lot about the parts that are coming out and the new stuff that it's developed by JC and everything else. So it's kind of how I get my news as well. So when I'm not and I'm at home, you can see me click on. I'll be there as a silent type of deal.
No, we see it. That's the neat part about this stuff. I mean, we see so much. I mean, the transparency through some of the programs that we're using and kind of who's lurking and who's not is a lot of fun. But we really enjoy doing this, and we're while the audience is kind of building up and getting in here, I mean, the feeds are going crazy. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Dominic Lapino, thanks for checking in. We appreciate it. As always, another fellow Havasu rat there for you. Dom. And but it's just really cool to see, and it just for it to come full circle, right? And we're kind of where we're at, and
see, you have the vision of what you wanted it to be, but I'm on the outside looking in, so I see the big growth. So every time I'm here, I see a little bit more and a little bit more, and you guys are killing it, doing a good job at it.
No, we appreciate it. It's we a lot of great people behind the scenes that are really doing it. Yes, I'm in front of the camera at times, but we've got so many great people behind the scenes, and even the show. I mean, I couldn't do the show without the guys that they really give up some extra time. Yes, they give up short lunches and everything to make this thing kind of work. So
I think I saw Rick. Was it just when you acquired Rick? We did lunch that day.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you don't get to just sit down and kind of kick back and talk about the old days and what's going on. And Rick's a good find. That's a good deal. I
mean, it's cool for me. Again, I've talked to this before, just to work alongside some of these guys. These are guys that I was, even you. I mean, I was young kid, 8, 9, 10 years old, hanging on the fence and watching these guys race, and then to be able to come out and work alongside them and have lunch. And there's certain guys here that we have different relationships with. There's guys that I really enjoy spending time with, and you can actually kind of be a wailing wall. And, guys like Rick, I can talk fatherly advice with Rick and, and Jack and stuff like that. And it's really cool. So it's just cool to see how many people are digging the show, man, and jumping in. Gary Larson, how we doing? John Jackson, Greg, Joni's checking in. Of course, she says hi.
Oh, good to see
She's a big fan of yours as well.
Very nice.
And then actually, we can't forget Ashlyn. I mean, it's been a minute, Ash. Hope to see you guys soon. We need to catch an escape room very soon. We're going to drag this guy along to see if he can get out of it. But Steve Hull, man, it's just all this stuff. This is what I love about this thing. And I mean, where we're kind of going with this, and you and I talk a lot, obviously, outside of here, and for me to kind of, hey, bounce this idea, or this is where we're going to go. And for real, for me to get excited about, what we're doing, whether it's the dealer showcase, and, we're working on getting, Larry on here soon to talk, about what we're doing, and just showcase and share people, share the guys that are supporting what we've been doing, and we're able to reciprocate that and bring it to the forefront and whatnot. So it's pretty cool.
I mean, it's like I've always said, my whole career, it's all about relationships. And if you can keep those relationships intact, not only is it friends or sponsors or whatever, they'll stick with you. They know where you stand. They know that you have their back and they have yours. And it just makes it a big deal. So, I mean, after all these years, I'm able to still reach out to sponsors and say, hey, I got something cooking. Are you interested? So it does make a big difference.
Yep. And I think that's one of the reasons why you're here today. And we're going to get to that about something cooking and kind of everything that we've been working towards and whatnot. So we're going to bring everybody into play, and you guys keep those questions coming, keep the comments going. We're going to do our best to get through those. So if I am looking down at time from time, it is me trying to catch up on the feed and to make sure that nothing's missed. I mean, cause it's going to be good, but so, what's happened on your end? What's new and exciting?
Well, you know what? I'm always working on something. You know that.
That's true.
So,
whether it's the fiberglass bodies and off-road.
right.
So, before we do that, one thing that is questioned is somebody asked me, is Cory getting back? Will Cory get back in an off-road car? And I said, besides the sand car, I don't know, but I think he's got an itch every once in a while.
I do. You know, I figured out very quickly that the Pro Light series is a very young man's game. And I see the excel. You excel when you're young and you've either been in the kart program and moved your way up into a Pro Light, or if you're really good at motocross. Well, I sucked at motocross. So obviously it was just a learning curve, and I really love it. And once I stepped out, I was just really kind of, okay, I'm good with this and I can concentrate on drag racing. And then all of a sudden now I'm getting that itch again. And it's like, you know what? I've been offered some co-rides and, you know, that type of deal, which I'm all about that. I'm good. I mean, I pick my drivers carefully because there's some wild men out there, but at the same time, you know, Pro 2, something like that, Pro 4, I would really like to learn that. I've been told by many people and guys have been in the industry forever that, you know, the Pro Light is the hardest class to do. And if I'd have known that at first, I'd have probably started in Pro Buggy and then try to find somewhere to jump in. But I've been looking at Pro Buggy as well. It's a good class. It's something that I can prep at home on my own. And the Pro Light takes a lot. You need a few good, really guys that are really good at fabricating and everything else, because you beat some stuff up on the weekend. So that's kind of what prompted me into getting involved with the race glass deal. And, you know, Dave Winter at FabTech and Cory Winter at FabTech, they're my partners in the deal. So, you know, they're out there in touch with everybody all the time. Cory's moved on to Pro 2 and he's killing it. At the same time, it's good for me because I can be at home doing all I got to do on the computer. And a lot of the off-road guys, they're not drag racing guys. So it's really nice because I can just say who I am and who I'm working with until like a month down the road. Oh, dude, I didn't know you were, you know,
sign this for me.
It makes it fun for me. I've never been, you know, I don't have a chip on my shoulder. It's not an ego thing. I've loved what I've done my whole life. I've been very blessed to be able to do that and put food on the table for my daughter. And, you know, I'm a people guy. I just like to be able to go out and talk to the fans and, you know, give them a good show. That's what it is. I mean, we're all tough and we're all like ready to get in the car and line up. That changes your mindset, no doubt. Same with off-road, you know, getting hyped up and getting ready for that checker flag to come down at the end. It's like, where are you, where you want to be, and how are you going to get there?
Yeah, you know, it's funny you brought it up and you talk about getting banged around and everything else. I'm like, man, you know, I'm sure Class 11 and those guys that are listening in right now from Class 11 junkies or some of the other guys, they'd love to see you come trade paint with us. I would like to see you come trade paint. You think the old body could handle a couple of Class 11?
You know, whatever I've had better people try to kill me and it's never happened. So you go through some of the stuff that you see on YouTube and I'm even looking at it going, man, how'd I get through that? But at my age, I start to feel those aches and pains a little bit more than I used to, but there's nothing that stops me putting a helmet on and getting in a car, even if somebody like you were driving and I was just co-riding, whatever the case is. That
sounds like something we should start teasing in the making. We got a couple of races coming up there, fellas.
There we go.
We got a Glen Helen. So yeah, speaking of that, we got an EMPI shootout, Class 11 shootout at Glen Helen's big track on the 17th of July, Friday. It's Ken Boyer's birthday bash, and we turned it into an EMPI Class 11 shootout on Friday night, and then Saturday morning is the more race at Glen Helen on the 4.5 mile GP course. Right. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then the very next weekend, so we got a 3-day thrash after that race, 3-4 days to somewhat heal up. And then to turn the cars around and get them ready for the big snow race at Prim. So
yeah, the body can handle it pretty good. It's the prep they always worry about to make sure that it's ready for the next weekend. So yeah, I get that, but you know what? You guys work hard during the weekend and play hard on during the week. I'm sorry, and then play hard on the weekend. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, this body, it takes a little bit longer to heal up getting at Class 11. Well, especially last time when you're hanging upside down for a minute, it does take a little bit to
been there, done that.
The adrenaline come down is different. So one of the questions we already had coming through from John Jackson is how does Cory like the new technology that has showed up in the new race cars?
It's if we're talking top fuel category,
I would assume.
I imagine that's where we're going with this. It's really helped the drivers that have not had a lot of laps in top fuel cars. I mean, for myself, I was around when there was no real big technology. I mean, literally, you couldn't even control anything electronically with the race car. So everything had to be pneumatic timers, air pulse, that type of deal off the throttle. So it really was a driver's game, and then as we evolved, as everything else has, all this technology comes in, and most of it is based around trying not to hurt the motors, not to hurt the cars, make sure that if the driver becomes incapacitated for some reason, that there's something's going to happen, like throwing the chutes out automatically at the other end, shutting off the fuel, trying to get them slowed up. And that's a big thing. I noticed for some of the younger drivers, they're actually learning quicker because those things are in place. Where an old guy like me, I come in, I'm like, I don't want a radio. I don't want this hooked up. I want to do this myself. But these are NHRA implemented things. And then you get guys like a Don Schumacher that have gone the extra mile to where they're actually, when they get to 950 feet, they're actually throwing one chute out automatically while you're still on the gas. So we can throw two, we can throw one, and then another one at 1100. And then they have something on the wall down there that everybody has to have on their car that automatically takes the chutes out, shuts the car down, shuts the fuel shutoffs down. So it's really, really got automated, so to speak, which is, it's good. It's everybody wants to do that one thing. That one thing is to be live on TV as much as possible.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if we're oiling down stuff and they're working on that, trying to clean the track, that just takes everything away. So now then you got to throw the fluff in there, stuff we've pre-recorded. Well, we like to get as much as we can where we're live, and Fox is doing that.
Battle.
I've actually heard some, keep my thumb on the pulse there for NHRA, and they're going to restart in July 11th and 12th in Indy, and then the very next weekend, 18th and 19th. And I believe a lot of that's going to be done on live on Fox. So, I mean, like my mom at home, turn on channel 11 and watch it, and that's a big deal for Fox to step up and NHRA to get with them. And, there's been a lot of talk of new cars coming back out and drivers coming back out that have kind of been on the sidelines. So we'll see. I haven't seen a car count yet, but
I've been looking, trust me. So
yeah.
I was looking last night because I was talking to Cameron Foray and I'm like, hey, where are we at and stuff? And there's 12 cars already registered, but there's a handful of cars that are not listed yet on the lineup there that are registered. So
yes, sir.
It looks like, with all intents and purposes, they may end up getting at least 16 to 18 cars plus.
I believe that'll be the case when it's all said and done. There's some new announcements that are coming out. I mean, I think everybody saw the Tony Schumacher announcement, so he'll be out there back in a dragster again with Global and mostly Antron stuff. Antron worked really hard on that deal, and they worked together very well. So he'll have Brian Karate, Mark Oswald, those kind of guys working on that, and that's going to be a very good team, a very good car. Don Schumacher doesn't do anything halfway, so we know that's it's good. If you can get in a car like his with a canopy, it's not only safer nowadays, but it's going to be top notch.
Do you feel a lot of those guys are like a plug and play kind of deal? That, I mean, it's pretty much, and I'm not trying to downplay the driver's skill set, right? Because I mean, you still got to have the pair of wherewithals to get in there and do it, right? But is it when you're at a Schumacher caliber deal or even a Coletta or a Force, you feel a lot of times it's almost a plug and play? Like if that team is doing it more so than privateers, because you got the spare parts, you got the data from other cars, and they're built identical, do you feel that you could literally jump in a car like that, or you or anybody else can jump in a car like that and be competitive kind of out of the gate?
Definitely. And especially, today's technology, and then everybody works together, and all the crew chiefs are always, the computer's open to them. So they have an idea where they want to go. The only difference is probably when you look at the driver and driver weight versus where you have the weight in the car and where the motors sit, whether it's a couple inches back, shorter foot box, that type of deal. I mean, those are the real big things, and Big Joe and I are good friends. He he basically puts all the DSR cars together. We did a lot of experimenting back in the day with cars, and I mean, because they can either be really tight, and which makes them work at certain tracks, but not so good at others. We found that we were able to get it more like a spaghetti, piece of spaghetti. And you can tell after the burnout, the ones that are really flexing and moving around, those are probably a little bit looser, and you definitely would be replacing front ends probably after 50 runs or so. A front half will go on, and the center section, you'd be surprised. The driver's section we use for years and years and years, because they're so intact. They're so, nicely put together. They're there to protect the driver, where the rear half of the car and the front half, they have just a lifetime. So we changed that. But yeah, you're, getting back to what you're talking about, it does make it different for the driver. And now you see these owners, if they're going to bring other cars out, they want a guy that they can plug in and put in the position, and he already knows all the rules, what to say, what not to say, what to do and what not to do. And then, the technology, hey, we've implemented this and this and this, and it just makes the sport better. And, we'd love to see side-by-side racing. I myself, always been a big quarter mile guy, but we had to adapt to that. And it was because we were trying to save lives. We lost some really good drivers in the past, and, good friends of mine at the time. And it's just one of those things where it's evolving, but we're still going quicker. We're still going faster. I mean, you still see those things throw out 330-mile-an-hour runs.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what the evolution of anything motorsport, right? I mean, it was like that with restrictor plate racing. It's that's what makes some of these tuners and crew chiefs and engine builders and fabricators all start just you use those years and years and years of experience, and then you had those aha moments. I think that you kind of tie it all together, and it comes full circle, and you're like, oh well, that spaghetti noodle will work really good here at Richmond because it has a little way, whatever it may be. But then on top of it, I can found this horsepower, and I found this horsepower is now at your level is not the issue at all. No. It's about just utilizing and sticking it down as much as you possibly can.
Like you said, it's all about application, process. And, every time we get a new rule put out there, I look at the crew chiefs, because their faces are just, and the driver is just a driver. I mean, we do what we can and, take care of what we can, make sure our guys have everything they need. But at the same time, when they start putting rules out there to try to slow the cars down, the crew chiefs, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, they're mad scientists. It's just like, give me that and I will find a way to make it quicker, and that's where, the evolution keeps going and going. I call it, as the wheel turns, here we go. So.
Yeah. I mean, where do you see the limit in the next couple of years? I mean, do you think we're going to see a 340 by 2021? Do you think we're going to see, I mean, gosh, it doesn't seem like much, right? A lot of people think, 4 miles an hour, right? They've been, right. So but golly,
you look back at the past, we were running a quarter mile. I mean, I came into the crowd of drivers when they were trying to just fill the first 16 to go 300. So I got my 300-mile-an-hour ring way back in the day, along with some of the greats.
Just 300.
Only 300.
By the way, you should see his Wally collection. It's just ridiculous, but it's cool. Continue, sir.
Yeah. Lord. But at the same time, then we were thinking, okay, what's going to be the next mark? Who's going to do that? So we know the king of speed, Kenny Bernstein, got the first 300-mile. And then the next thing was, who's going to break 320? Well, I was the lucky one. I got to do that in Texas. I went 321.77. I think it was the first run. And we dominated that weekend. And when you're on that wave, you ride it as long as you can. It's really cool. And, be able to go out there, qualify number one and win the race and set records and, especially speed records with those things. It's unbelievable what you think as a driver when you're in the car. When that thing hits 330, it starts doing a whole different thing, and the body panels start moving around. And, so at quarter mile, I've been 336 at a quarter mile, and it's just, that's when it was like, hey, we got to start reeling these guys in a little bit. And, the short tracks were definitely the hardest to navigate.
Yeah. So, shut down.
But I don't see it stopping, but Goodyear made it very, very clear. We make a Goodyear tire that we did not think would ever go over 330. So we did not make a Goodyear tire to go 340 mile an hour. But it's like everything else. We're going to keep pushing that envelope,
Yeah.
and it's going to happen. Will they go in and slow us down again? Probably so. But like I said, the crew chiefs find a way about that where, well, then we need to kick it harder in the 60 foot, and then the other end will take care of itself. We might be going a couple mile an hour slower, but we've covered that front half. And what amazes me now is to see some of these half track speeds over 290,
it's insane.
299, a couple of them, and it's like, man, I never thought we'd see that.
That's when you start to really dissect it. I mean, you're talking about closing out, 350 feet or so at, and you're covering that so quick, so fast. It's crazy. It really is. So,
and it's different, the aerodynamics of the cars have really came into play, get them in the wind tunnel, see what they can do. And, at 60 foot, just going by the tree, you're already over 100 mile an hour and your front wings coming into play already. So it's just amazing to see what they've come up with. And I don't see it stopping. I really don't. If they'd let them loose and just let them do whatever they want, you will see something like 340. Someday.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious. Like, I wonder who's going to end up doing something like a oops moment. And they're like, oh shit. Like we kind of we kind of showed our hand of what we're capable of, and planets align, the conditions are right. Just things happen, right? And I'm just curious. Like I'm just thinking about this the other day. Like when at what speed or what's going to happen, and when do we think it's going to happen? And at that moment, we know obviously changes are going to come because they're already freaking out. And to touch on your point, I remember one device. When I worked with Austin Prock for that early in the season deal. Even the crew chief, Ron Thompson had it to cut it off. Like he had it around his neck, like a life alert, man. And just to kill it to that pneumatic little switch on the blower that pulls that pin out and closes the butterfly. So,
and that's exactly one of the things we're talking about. And even myself, after all the laps I have in cars, there's a lot of times where you don't know it's dropped a cylinder at the hit. And we know one thing, it's lost all that horsepower. So as a driver, if you feel it move over, more than likely you got a cylinder out. But it takes the mind a second or so to understand that, to say, okay, this run's got to be aborted. By that time, those guys have already hit the button and the throttle just goes to the floor and you're like, we're done, we're coasting. So those things implemented, I think, really is going to help, like I said, on the motor, saving the heads and saving the blocks, not throwing the Rodneys out on the ground with a bunch of oil for cleanup. Obviously, the diapers have been just unbelievable. You can go out there and kick a set of rods out and come back to the pit, and you don't even know it's done until you drop the diaper and it's just full of parts, So
scattered.
Yeah. I mean, some things sometimes it happens that way, but when the tune-ups are right and everything's good, these crew chiefs, they just have to tickle it. This one needs a little more fuel. Let's get a little compression out of this one, or put some in it, depending on what you got going on. But it's definitely it's a new age, no doubt.
Yeah. I just, again, as a fan, I'm always curious to see what it'll be. I did get a DM right now that says, hey, when are we going to get Cory out to the slot car track?
I know. And you talk about it, and it's like all these people and they really love doing it. And I have had a lot of fans that have come over and said, hey, we build these slot cars, and they'll pull out one that just looks like my old Mac Attack car, or that type of deal. And hey, you need it. Well, you're the next one I talk to. And so I'm going to go with you, actually. And I like to go in and just be that guy in the background. I don't want to, I don't want to mix it up. I just want to see them all go and maybe get my hands in there a little bit.
Oh no, you're racing me. If you go, you're racing me. I mean, that's the only chance I can line up.
Is that it? There we go.
So I gotta get it while I can. Yeah. John Jackson says, I wish they made kid diapers that good as they go to the Top Fuel. It reminds me of one of those YouTube meme things where it just bubbling and everything else. But man, no, but we got to get you to the slot car track.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
It kind of gets you out and does something different. And, right now we could all use some different things to do with everything that's going on.
Yeah. It's been pretty cool too, man. And there's so many different guys that are racing, that are doing the things that are sportsman category, that are, top sportsman category. I mean, hell, even Eugene, the guy used to drive Cattleman's rig. I mean, he's like a fixture in that place, man.
Really?
Oh yeah, he's there.
I did not know that.
Big Eugene, man. Yeah. He's driving the fuel rig for 25 years. I think he drove for Jim Dunn or something like that. Yeah. And so it's really cool because you get to meet so many different people, and you get guys that are like, oh wow, like I look in his box, like, I got some V-dubs in there. You're like, oh yeah, and then it's just so and so and so and so, and I got this bug. I'm like, you rolled up like in an Impala. That's all right, cool. Like, but that's Eddie, exactly. Buena Park Raceway, man. That's the spot. I'm an avid goer there now, and my box sits on the bench now. I don't even bring it home. It's pretty bad. My daughter's all about it, and it's funny. I mean, I'll give you an example. So this is my this is how crazy insane my passion for racing is now spreading to my daughter. This is at 9:30 last night, and she's I mean, for those of you guys can't see, but she hit a trip zip again.
Oh, how about
and
that?
So like, gotta send a picture, so she's showing me her trip zips, and you guys, it's pretty cool to see your daughter kind of, for me, it's to see my daughter that loves racing so much and loves to be around it.
She's definitely a daddy's girl. I mean, I had the pleasure of meeting her a few times, and I love when Cory will send me a picture at night and she's dancing around her Cory Mac shirt. I love to see stuff like that.
She didn't take that damn thing off for like 3 days. I had to wash it while she's there. So, it's really cool, man. We're seeing all these comments. Eric, by the way, Eric, I need to see you, and I've been meaning to get with you. If you're near EMPI, sometime this week, swing by tomorrow or anytime you're in the area. I have something for you specifically that I got that you'll love, that's going to pay homage to your mini truck days. I thought of you and I bought this for you, by the way. So, but man, it's cool. It's like I haven't been there in years. Alex Wood has my old box. I mean, Alex with the mullet is there's so many cool dudes, man. It's a lot of fun. And when you walk in, people are like, cool, like everybody just loves everybody, man. It's so cool. Like I'm even bugging Cameron, because Cameron has a slot car. He's like, I told you I had one. Yeah. It's a clone of his old Super Comp car.
Well, he's a young man, he'll be totally into that. And I'm afraid to go, because I know if I go, I'll be that guy.
Oh yeah.
Within a couple of months. Oh yeah, I got my own stuff.
Oh yeah, it happens. It's trust me,
it's infectious.
It's horrible. And it's something that's a blast, and it's a lot of fun. But you do the same type of tune-ups, the gearing, the motors, the glue, the leg glue. And I do no glue, no bars, all kinds of different. I'll nerd out on it. I don't want to do that on here. So it's a blast. I might drag you out there tomorrow night. Yep, man.
Sounds like a good time.
It is. It makes, what, man? It's a cool evening. I pick my daughter up. I take her down there. We go have a burger and milkshake and the guys. I'll tell you right now, everybody at Buena Park, and we're just using that track because that's our home track. But those dudes want a kid to win more than anything else.
Oh, really?
And to cheer her on and to watch her smile, but they won't lay down. They will not lay down. But I'll tell you right now, when she cuts a 008 and she got her first win against them, they were like going insane and high-fiving her, and she must have felt like she was 10 feet tall in there. So that's the moments that make it all worthwhile for me and why we do this. So
stories like that are, that's what puts a smile on your face.
Heck yeah. Marty Staggs checking in, saying hi. So Marty, it's cool. Doing? It's cool to see all the old faces and the generations kind of all, mingling and hanging out. And this is a cool way to spend a Tuesday. All right, it's not the optimal time in the day. It's not not everybody can watch it and spend some time do it, but if you got an opportunity and you're in your office and your desk, prop up your phone, listen to Facebook, whatever, and sit down and spend an hour with us and talk about stuff. So
no, I mean, being Father's Day the other day, I find myself hitting all the all my friends and all the guys I know, one which was Keith Landreau, which that takes me way back, and Keith's doing really well. He sent me a text saying, hey, happy Father's Day to you. When you're going to come down to the beach and have a taco with me. And I guess he's got some machine stuff that he still does for folks. And,
oh, wow.
But he's very happy. He said, I'm doing really good health-wise and everything else. So
very cool. Eric Madsen chiming in from Colorado. Wait until you go 1-to-1 scale racing with your daughter. I'm like, dude, I can't wait for that day. And hopefully, she has shared her desire for a junior, and I've been actively kind of looking for one that's not ridiculously overpriced pile of junk, which is what I've been seeing lately. And a lot of stuff that's way, way old and just beat to hell. So I'm hoping I can find them. So guys, if you got a junior dragster for, hopefully an affordable, really cheap price,
hit them up.
We can rub nickels together someday and we'll get one for her. But, I just one day I want to get her one soon. So
My daughter just, you know, I always had it set up where I had bought her a frame, a chassis, and had a junior dragster ready for her probably 5 or 6 years before she actually could even be old enough to drive one. But she just never really showed the passion in racing that I do. And so her big thing was she showed the passion that I was trying to get to. I wanted to be a veterinarian. I was dead set. I'm going to be a veterinarian. I love dogs. I love animals altogether. Doesn't matter, big, small, or indifferent. And she took that on. So she's got a year and a half left, and she's going to be full on veterinarian and have everything that I wanted back then. But it's like everything else, guys. All guys and girls can understand this. Once you get in a race car and go down the track, it's over. You're hooked.
It really is, and people talk about it being in the blood and everything else, and then baptism by nitro, if you will, and stuff like that. The old cliche saying. I mean, everybody that I've ever brought to the races just on a Thursday when they run on Thursdays or a Friday when it was just easy to get in and cheap,
more laid back.
Yeah, and it was laid back. You could actually visit with a driver for 5 minutes. It wasn't a Sunday race day, and they don't
have the race day head on yet.
Yep. Yeah. So you could get a minute or two with them, and it's just been really cool, And then everybody that's ever done that has been hooked.
Oh, God.
My neighbor I brought just multiple friends in there. I was like, hey, when's that come back? And
I wanted to go there.
Yeah, this is cool, man. You could feel it in your body. And I tell them, so but that's what it's about, right? It's right. One way or another.
It's how we all get started. Back in the day, my dad, he had a partner. They owned a place called D&D VW. It was all high performance VW stuff. And they had a sand car and they had a drag car, which is now my car, and that's a 56.
Yeah.
And
so
I was begging to drive that car for years, Cory. And it was like, nope, my partner drives it, this and that. And you need to learn the other side. So I learned how to do everything on the car before I got a chance to get it. And my dad's friend had gotten sick. And then the next thing I know, we're rolling into Orange County for a bug in. Dude, I was on cloud 9 just thinking, I'm finally going to get a shot at this. And, from there on, it kind of took off. First time in a car, got to win the race. I'm thinking, okay, this normally cannot be this easy. Okay. So it's a very humbling sport because I had my butt handed to me a lot of times after that. So like I said, when you're on that wave, ride that puppy as long as you can.
Yeah. So you saw the flyer. I mean, the scallop flame job and everything else. What era is that? So I'm showing you guys on the screen, Cory, really close to the steering wheel, by the way.
Very, yeah.
And, what year was that approximately?
Oh, gosh, that had to be 81, 82, something like that. I mean, that was when it was my dad's car and he had it all painted up. We had Dave Beam was painting cars back then. So we had him do all the stuff. And I saw it for the first time. I was like, man, that is just crazy. And then on the back, my dad's all, it says 3 times lady on the back. I'm like, what is this? And he's like, it's one of my favorite songs I had to put on there. And, we all name our cars, I think. And for me, I name motors and cars. So, some treat you better than the others, I guess.
Yeah.
The untamable ones like Larry Minor's Pro Mod sand car. That thing is a beast and probably one of the most scary cars or cars I really have to be on my game and pay attention to because stuff happens in that amount of time very quickly. So
when are you going to get back out in that thing?
They canceled the race that was, a month and a half ago. So they canceled that one. We're actually waiting to see what the next race is going to be. The problem is we're in a different world right now where we're all wanting to get back to drag racing and normal times and what's the new normal going to be. And we're all fighting for that. Well, you look at Indianapolis. Indianapolis has been running, 8-mile drags, Saturdays, Wednesdays for the last month and a half. And then we got tracks where we're at, that just don't seem to be there yet. And that's what we're struggling right now with our Vegas race,
Yeah. So we already got a lot of people chiming in about the Vegas race. So let's get to the skinny and we'll just lay it out there.
We need to, because I'm a very honest guy when it comes to this. First and foremost, I look at all this as, okay, it's an opportunity to get everybody together and have a really badass, big, giant group of people, drag racing, car show, swap meet, midway, bring some of my sponsors in and really do it the right way and get everybody together like we used to. Those old bug-ins, man. Remember how big they were,
I think we've kind of came up with the moniker, where you go to a lifestyle event, a hobbyist event, a drag race broke out was kind of what we were trying to accomplish with this thing. So,
and Vegas is the most, I love Vegas. I love the track, Bruton Smith has done a great job, and they've made it 4 wide, which I don't think we'll ever get to do the 4 wide with VW. No. Yeah, I brought that up one time, and I got my hand slapped for it.
If you want to pay, I mean, I'm sure they'll gladly rent it. I mean,
it is crazy, but first and foremost, we have waited and waited to try to make sure we could keep our date, October 18th, at the Vegas Strip, and we are just not seeing people opening up all their businesses. It's been slow for the casinos. And believe me, I'm on the phone with people every other day, just doing the process, doing the homework. And, even NHRA, I'm looking at their rules now when they go back to racing. Every fan has to be wearing a mask. Every driver has to wear a mask the whole time you're there.
We should touch on some of those rules, which just kind of lets the groundwork of really some of the hurdles that we're up against right now.
It does,
with NHRA, right? So you're saying, basically every fan has to have a face mask. Every crew member's got to be wearing their stuff.
Correct.
You can't shuttle parts back and forth. Like no one's, just go. I can't even, you got to read it more than I did.
It's very closed up. And after reading a lot of the rules last night, I'm seeing what they're having to go through, and they're going to be watched. Like a hawk, because I guarantee if they don't follow the rules, they will have no problem shutting them down. And then we don't want that for anybody, So, after reading the rules and seeing how stringent they're going to be next month it's really kind of lit my eyes to what's really going on. And we've all been waiting to make that comeback. So let's get back to our drag race. We planned this thing. Brian Watts, Cory Ryder, all the help behind you guys at EMPI, trying to make this the best thing we can. And unfortunately, the drag strip has not had one car go down it. They've canceled abundance of races. They even had a big hot rod V8 one that they do every single year. It's all kinds of old school cars. And they were literally coming at the gates and were stopped in their tracks, and
that's crazy.
And that's very concerning to me. We're trying to have a big gathering, keep everybody healthy, not have any issues, and go out and have some fun. And that's what this thing really, in my mind, before everything happened, that's what my mind was wrapped around. Get this thing back together and get all these people back together that basically race apart, and they race other races and not go to some. And, I wanted one big race where everybody could come out, have a great time. And me being out of a car almost makes it that much more fun. I can talk to people that I haven't got to talk to in years, meet a lot of new racers that are out there and see their looks and inputs on what's there and try to make it better each year. But you know what? We had to, yesterday, I had to make the phone call that I didn't want to do. And I literally had to cancel the race for October 18th. Postponed, yes.
Right.
Right away, I flopped it over into next year.
Yeah.
So at this point, with not really, I don't want to put any butter on this because there's no way to say it other than just being straight up front. My biggest thing and concern is to keep the families, their kids, everybody safe and everybody healthy. Yeah. Without that, I would be that guy that would go home and think, my God, I put this together and now we have more people that are sick or more people that couldn't come because they had to plan so far ahead. And I know you guys are out there waiting for rules and everything else. We have them. Yeah. We have everything out there. We just didn't roll everything out because we were afraid to mix it up, and we didn't want to send you guys back. Well, I got to build this motor and have this weight and to be in this category. We're trying to save you guys money, and I know some people were getting pretty agitated at some of the comments I was getting. And once again, I'd have to jump on there and say, look, do your homework, look at the Vegas, look what's going on. They've done a soft opening on casinos. The hotels are still very backed up on what they can and can't do. And the racetrack still does not have a first date that they can run anything down the track. No testing, no nothing. So, I talked to the guys at the Vegas track almost every other day. Yesterday morning, I talked to them and they said, look, we are with you either way. but we are afraid that when it comes to it, you're not going to be able to hold your event.
And that's what we didn't want to have happen, right?
Exactly.
I mean, because and one of the things that people got to understand is, I mean, there's also a limit to, you know, you've written a substantial check to reserve the spot of the track, and then those promoters that know and those that have looked into it realize that it's not cheap, right? And so, but there also becomes a point where there's a threshold, where a point of no return to say, hey, we're going to ride this thing into the ground. Come hell or high water, but it comes at the risk of tens of thousands of dollars of expenses being put out before even an event comes down. Yeah. So it wasn't easy. I mean,
I'm sad about it. I mean, it physically bothers me. You know, I probably didn't sleep at all last night because I kept thinking, you know, we've come all this way and we have good money invested and everything else. But the good thing is the Vegas guys said, Cory, we'll roll you into next year. So right now I'm kind of in that way. And you and I need to talk some more about it. And I appreciate all the hard work from you and your guys and Brian Watts on the phone with people and just everybody that's kind of been so excited for this. I couldn't be more excited. And I really wanted to have it. I held out as much as I could. But I don't want you guys to be out there, you know, you got all your trip stuff, you got everything going on, you spent a whole bunch of money on your car to fit our classes, and then all of a sudden we can't do it. So it's better now to say, hey, let's step back a little bit. I already have the track for next year. We're already good on that. They have my money. They're not throwing it back at me. So, and they've said, you know, pick your dates. Yeah. So as of right now, my biggest thing is to get with the other sanctioned bodies that you have in the VW community, find out what their dates are going to be, and let's figure out, you know, I'd love to get an early date next year.
Well, that's kind of, it was alluding to where I wanted to go with it is we want to get it out there right away and try to get with the Kimballs or somebody like that and say, hey, look, let's add a Vegas race. And how many of you guys would love to see a Vegas race work in parallel with them to where we're going to host the event. It's our event, everything we're going to do. And by the way, this is going to be the 5th race of the season or 4th race of the season for points and everything else. And we'll take care and run everything and get it all set up and run. I mean, that's kind of what we're really hoping for. And it'll work with, you know, not double upping on somebody back to back. Right. And, you know, because I mean, obviously with the race that was planned, it was, you know, our race on the 18th and the very next weekend would have been drag day and the final race of the year. So it's like, we'd love to embrace that, try to get them ready. So Ron, I'm sure we're going to be in contact, and Kimball will be in contact soon. That's really what I would love to see come out of this for next year. Because gosh dang it, let's just rip the Band-Aid off 2020 and get this thing behind us and move on and get back to some normalcy. I mean, you know, there's been several great comments on here. You know, I mean, Stephen Haas chiming in about a charity tournament with 4 players and came away with COVID, the #1 player in the world. So it's, you know, it's safer to pull the plug early. I mean, there's been a lot of, you know, bum, dang, shucks, and stuff like that. But at the same time, you know, they're giving respect and they're embracing what we're kind of doing. So it's very, very cool. And glad you guys understand, because this wasn't an easy conversation to have. It's been some late nights and some early damn mornings.
And the last week has been exceptionally hard because I just had to come to that realization of making a decision. And, you know, I started the deal. So now I've got to be the one to make that decision. And I hate that because I'm a true racer, and I know how you guys feel, and you're so geared up for, you know, not only going, but, you know, being able to bring your family out to the racetrack and, you know, go out of the track at night. I mean, I'm doing full security so everybody can leave and go to shows and go in and gamble and go to some of the nice restaurants. Well, those things will not even be open. So then again, that's all done. You're not going to go see a show in Vegas for quite some time.
And that's all these things that we're taking into consideration, you know, and it's and things over there, you know, I mean, with the hotel manager giving, you know, COVID to 18 of their employees or something crazy that the news was reporting. I mean, it's just, it's too sketchy, right? It's the best way to, it's not smart for everybody to go and for, like you said, to put people at risk and
that would break my heart to see somebody, you know, pass away or something because of an event that I put on or something. And it just, that doesn't sit well with me. I'm a big family guy, and these are all families that have, you know, wives and kids, and we're looking forward to having the whole gamut. And I want to give you guys that. And obviously everybody's going to sit down once they cool down after hearing, hey, we had to stop this race, and they really think about it. You guys do your homework, think about it, look at Vegas. You'll see the same thing that I am, and say, you know what? The guy made the right decision, and it's not like we're not going to do it. We're going to come back and we're still going to do a bash. I mean, it'll be a lot more fun. We'll hopefully be past all this stuff, and, you won't have to wear masks, and you won't have to sanitize. And I mean, that's the other big thing. I'm with SantaCore out of Indianapolis, and you wouldn't believe how many packets that we have to have on the premises for NHRA. We're talking over 200,000 packets that we're going to have to do with them. And they're just the little sachet packets, rip it open, 2.4 milligrams, and it's 80%. So it's not 62% here, and this 62% doesn't do much. And after really getting to know what the chemicals do, and, if it's an alcohol product, it's really bad for you, actually, and bad for kids. So we are, this people that came to me, SantaCore product, they have the exact right blem. I put it in front of NHRA, and they pounced on it. And this is a good thing, because we're able to see what's going to be going on. These packets you can just stick in your pocket. I mean, everybody else, I see what they're handing out. Well, bottles, 3 ounce, 4 ounce. Well, unless you're a girl with a purse, I mean, what guy is going to stick that in his pocket and be walking around with it? So this is just a safer way, and very, right now we've got to get it in place. And NHRA was really good about getting back to our folks and signing that up. So I'm excited for that as well. And then, once we get past all this stuff next year, we don't have to worry about having a sanitizer. You can actually shake somebody's hand. I mean, I can't tell you the last time I was able to walk up to a business partner, shake their hand like normal, or people that I love, a big part of my life, or give them a hug.
Right.
Without wearing a mask, or without wearing gloves, or without wearing stuff. And it's, it's a big deal to me. I love people. I love what they're about. I love my mother. I'm not around her for a reason. When I go to her house, I wear a mask the whole time I'm there, just because I do not want to see her get sick, because that would be a bad thing. My daughter's mother, she has underlying issues, and has for a long time. And so I can't really even go in there, because I'm still the guy that goes to the grocery store, still goes out and does a few things here and there. And I'm careful. Don't get me wrong. I got my mask sitting right here on the floor, you know, and if I walked in today and you guys all had one, I'd be wearing mine right now.
We're all here. Temperature checks at the door.
Right.
Comes free.
We're just going to have
to take it serious here.
I mean, you're going to have to get used to what we're going to call the new normal for now. And once we do that, I think 2021 is going to bring us back to what we know, what we know, what we love, and we can do what we love, and not have to segregate all the time. And I'm not big on sitting in my house for 14 days every time I go somewhere.
Well, that leads us to another point, right? So, with everything kind of gone on the way it was at, I know that our European, travelers, and not just European, but just around the globe, had to stop. I mean, I know Rod Penrose was already making reservations. The car was getting ready to go. He started making container arrangements and everything else. We made arrangements to store the car here. He had to pull the plug. I mean, let's be honest. European travel still isn't even open.
Correct.
14-day quarantine to and fro. I mean, there's so many crazy things. So, I think we made the right decision. I'm happy that it was the right decision, but it sucked making it. The journey was terrible. But I could tell you right now, you got a lot of great people supporting, what's going on. Wink chiming in. He was just there, and he said it was a ghost town. He goes, I went right through. Lots of stuff still closed. I mean, I was there 3 weeks ago, and nothing was open. I mean, that was 3 weeks ago. There was thousands of cars from the airport sitting there, where the rental cars sitting at South Point. So it's crazy to think about the world that we're living. And
even flights have gotten crazy, and now they've re-implemented them. Everybody has to have a mask on. And you see these flights where people are getting taken off by officers, and they're not arresting them. They're just taking them off the flight and letting them go. Type of thing. So
Chad Coker chimed in and says, you need you out driving our sand car for the U.S. Sand Nationals.
There we go.
See, look at it. It's perked up a little bit,
me, I'd love to drive anything. It's just one of those deals that, it just is a lot of fun. It's fun to go fast, fun to figure out a car, fun to bring it back and say, okay, I think this is what I'm feeling. So why don't you look at the computer and tell me if I'm right? And that's what I've always done with the Top Fuel cars. Work with the crew chiefs. I mean, that's how you get to the winner's circle. That's the way you do it. So given the opportunity, you know me, I'm in.
Have driving gear, will travel.
Yeah, I used to call it have helmet, will travel,
Yes.
because I was racing for different teams along the way. It's like, okay, I got to race for Joe Gibbs, I got to race for Larry Minor. I've been in a bunch of different teams that have been great. It's nothing like having your own family car, and so I wouldn't be here today if my mom and dad hadn't become major drag race fans, and then we moved forward with our car, and all the one-offs we did with the funny car and the autocraft motors and everything I could shove them in type of deal. And it really snowballed. And we had a lot of help along the way, as well, because there's not things that I could build. We had frameworks building our chassis back there. Tom Shue and, Dave Foltz and, the Davis brothers. I mean, all these guys, helped put these cars together. I'm just the guy that was stepped in it and learned how to maintenance it afterwards, that type of deal, which I have enjoyed every single bit. Like I said, and then to be the right place, the right time to get picked up and get to do what you thoroughly just love. I mean, I'm telling you, I'd sit in my room for days and days thinking, this is the coolest thing. I can't believe I'm doing what I love and getting paid for it. Crazy. So yes, I mean, I appreciate the support, and, we can never make everybody happy, but I'm telling you guys, just think positive. Let's get by this. Let's get through this. Let's move into next year and have it be a new, fresh start for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, you got a ton of support, man. Eric Madsen chiming in, hey, the MSVWRA guys will be there when it happens and support. Those are guys out of Colorado, and they got some really cool stuff. Dominic Lupino chiming in, Tom Frischetti.
Tom Fritchie.
Yeah, Fritzy. He's chiming in. He's been chiming in the whole show. So thanks for checking in. Bigger and better, bro, in 2021. So, I think if hopefully you feel a little better now, kind of get it off your chest. You've been
idea.
Keeping a secret.
Yeah. I feel my heart rate going back down a little bit.
Yeah.
It's hard. I've never been in this position to have to do this. I've always been the guy that's just, I'm going to drive the car and I'll get my car ready. So it breaks my heart to do it, but I think now is the best time instead of waiting another month and having the same thing happening with Vegas and the same thing going on. And, I'm ready to take trips out there and keep an eye on it, but I see where drag racing's coming back in other parts, and they're struggling as well. They have a lot of 8 mile stuff, which I still will go watch. I love it. But until we can really do it and do it the right way, it's time to
without limitations,
Yeah, I mean, and not have everything holding us down. Let's get back to where everybody can, the camaraderie, everybody can talk in a circle and not be 6 feet away and doing this and doing that. I don't like it either. I'm a people person. I like to be out there talking to fans and everything.
He's a hugger.
Else. He's a hugger. And not in the gay way. Not that that's bad, okay?
But no, just when you're at the races, man, you got friends and family. That's what's cool. It's like, you got guys like Dom, who's been around forever and a
great friend.
And a day. And Madsen, those guys have been around for years, and it's like when you see them, you don't see them that often. You see them once a year, maybe, or twice a year. You want to give them a hug or an embrace or have a cold beer and crack one with them, but it's the stuff like that there's just so many weird things. But to Dom, it's funny you brought SEMA up, man. So SEMA, I was actually on the phone with them again today because as it stands, with all indications, SEMA, although it's shortly after 2 weeks essentially after Vegas, is still a go.
Really?
And all intents and purposes, I mean, things are booked. Trust me, they've debited the card and charged you for your booze and are making your payments and are marching forward. So there's some candid things that, they had said on previous phone calls and stuff like that. And trust me, I'm very in tune with what's going on there. It's a big show for us, and it's a lot of responsibility for me. And it takes a few months of planning to get it ready. I'm hoping that the call on the 23rd of July, it's a members only deal. It's a kind of a thing, and they're going to shed some light on kind of what's going on with with that. So, but for all intents and purposes, SEMA's going to be a go. It's so far it is. They're going to keep pushing forward and everything else.
I know FabTech's going. The off-road company, they're building trucks and trying to get their big build together and everything else. Yeah. But on the backside, I'm good friends with Dave Winter, and he said, we're going to do what the right thing is. We're going to either, when they say it's a no-go, then we're going to back up and we'll get it ready for next year.
And they put some provisions in place, right? So SEMA cutoff time, which would have normally been around now, has extended it to like September 1st to actually pull out and not lose, because you lose seniority if you miss a year.
Correct.
So, for us, we've been 40 something years. We picked first day, like first session. So we're like number 3 or 4. It's crazy. But they've given them like a window to kind of work with. And from what I can gather, and the only thing that I've heard and been able to get information is like, like I say, who's not going to be there? That's kind of a big company.
Right. And
the only one that I was told it isn't, and I haven't verified it and checked the map yet, but was PPG.
Really?
Yeah. So everybody else though, all the, Holly's there, Edelbrock, and everybody's there. Bilstein's there. So, we're in the central hall where we're at. We've normally been. So we've got our booth number. We've got everything else.
It's a great spot to be in.
And it's even bigger this year. So wait till you guys what we got planned for this year.
I can't wait to see it. You guys always have something a step above. I'm doing the same thing with all my sponsors. RevChem Composites, they want to be there. They're actually planning on going. Nordic Boat, same thing. They want to bring boats out and have everybody, they put them outside for everybody to look at. And we all love to walk around and look at all the new stuff. And I'm that same guy. I'll be there if it goes. But everybody's a little bit held back right now.
Yeah, Dom said he was bummed out. He was prepping his car for a match race against you.
Yeah, I sent him a picture of my motor, so he's already seen that.
Oh yeah, so Dom, he's probably putting nitrous on the thing already.
Oh, no doubt.
And then he says they want to race Cory for a steak dinner. So
he's on.
He's on. There you go.
I love to eat food. I'm good.
Clearly, it looks like it. Jesus, dude. Don't put him outside in a strong wind. He might blow away damn jockeys,
Hey, you get old like me, you start shrinking.
Well, I'm not there yet, so we'll get there. But yeah, Dom, I'd love to see that happen. Definitely, I'm sure there's several guys that are going to try to call you.
Oh, I have no doubt.
You're going to have to put a new gearbox on that thing by the time.
Well, yeah, because I called Dave and he said, well, what's in it? I said, it's one of your old trannies, but it's brand new. He goes, drive it till it breaks, and then we'll hook you up with all the new stuff. So
build a spare and bring it with you.
Yeah, exactly. Because I have a feeling I might just break that puppy. So always got to have a backup.
Yeah. On a positive note, right? We'll try to give some positivity now. Right. Since we did have I'll say a competing event that was going on throughout the year, but it's just another event across the country, which was Fast Times at Farmington. October 18th is still a go. So and I don't want to get anything political on here, right? So depending on where you're at in the country and depending on what states you're in and stuff like that, and will dictate kind of when things are happening and what's happening. And there's some precautions that they're being asked to adhere to. So, which is great, but at least they're doing it.
Right.
So SCVW, Kathy Jacobs event, shout out to Kathy. She was just texting me as a reminder to let everybody know that they are working, on that. The event's a go.
That's a good thing. And it depends on the governor. The governors of each state, they're taking care of that. It's like, it's not like Donald Trump can come down and wave a magic wand and say everything's open. It's they got to work. They got to all work together. And we all know Democrats work with Democrats and Republicans work with Republicans. And I'm not that big of a, I'm not that big into all the politics of it. I just want to see everything move forward at a decent pace. And hopefully we can get back up and running, at the same time and, for the right things and for the right reasons, not for a political agenda. Yeah. That is the thing that I dislike. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows that we're working hard to make our deal work, and we can only do what they let us do. And that's the biggest thing.
I got one for you.
Go for it.
So Dom, I'm watching Dom's interactions on here. And by the way, guys, I really do appreciate all the comments, and I love seeing the chatter on here. It's awesome. But Dom's getting a kick out of it. But I'm like, hey, I'm sitting here. How can I make the Dom Cory race that much better? And I think that it should be a GP style start where you guys got to run to your car, strap in, and then go.
Well, I probably have a little bit better chance there because I do strap into a lot of different cars. Dominic, he'll come with a stock seatbelt or something. Click, I'm ready.
He'll have it like, loosened up so he just slips one arm in, slips it in, like put a trench coat on and pull it down. But
I mean, I'll be doing the burnout while I'm tightening the rest of it up, backing up. So
no, but I love it, man. I love seeing this stuff, and this is what this show's about. Right. I mean, damn, dude, it's already been over an hour, and we been chopping.
And it always goes quick when we do this because we get so off on different tangents and people and everything else. I mean, we got the serious stuff out of the way, and
Tom said Dom will get his face kicked in. Oh, he said he would die. I want to see Dom run. I mean, with me, Dom and I should have a foot race. That'd be pretty good.
Well, we could do foot races to 60 foot. I mean, I'd be laying on the ground begging for oxygen. I have a little oxygen bottle on me or something. But
I mean, Lucas Hand chimed in. So he's like, man, that's and honestly, I kind of saw where we were going a little bit, and I'm like, hey, to try to help EMPI stay out there and do other stuff, let's go off-road racing.
Yeah, and I mean, the off-road racing stuff is getting ready to open up. I mean, the Lucas series has not started, but all the Midwest guys, and believe me, I know what's going on because the race glass phone has not stopped ringing in the last few weeks.
So you're buying lunch.
So yeah, so you're buying lunch. But people, they wait till the last second. Finally, they get the go on this thing, and everybody's calling for bodies, which is a great thing for race glass. So we're trying to pound them out as many as we can, but just to try to get those guys filled up. And then the guys that are going to be on the Lucas side of things, I mean, they've yet to be given the full go. They actually have what they think is going to be a starting date. And actually one of the regionals is happening this weekend, I believe.
Oh, very cool.
So yeah, they are getting back a little bit quicker than we are on the asphalt. So yeah, I mean, that's a good play.
Lucas Hand says, have Cory ride with you in the 11 car.
You're
late to the party, Lucas. He already said he would. We just gotta make sure it fits his schedule, man. This guy's
just gotta, pardon my French, just make sure I got a shit handle.
Oh, we got one.
If I don't have a steering wheel,
God, that's the same thing because Cameron was in the last ride, and I'm like, we adjusted it. Obviously, it came out a little further for little Cam, but the button to talk and everything else, and the chatter. So
it's fun. I mean, it really is fun. Even being in the pro light with no co-driver or nothing else. I'm not used to having people on the radio tell me what to do. So now that they've done that into Top Fuel, I got a call from, some of the guys, hey, what do you think about this? And I'm like, me? No way. I mean, I don't like earplugs or anything. I like to hear the motor. I want to know what's going on. And nowadays, it's even that much more important. If you feel something, you hear something, shut that thing off, bring it back to them without burning the whole thing up. And then they got something to tune for the next round. So, I think with age, we get a little bit smarter as we go and not just stab the gas and hold it till something breaks.
Brakes optional.
Brakes optional. Yes, sir. But
so, man,
I'm in, dude. I will.
All right. You heard it.
I mean,
so I'm hoping that, towards the end of the year, at the very least, we need to get you in the car for like Rage at the River. Yep. With the Land Rush start and all these. I think there's going to be 30 Class 11 cars that are going to be mobbing across the Arizona desert into a Land Rush start, trying to narrow into one corner and then hit the moon bumps.
And I guarantee you will not have time to say a word because I will be in your ear the whole time because I get the whole spotting thing. And it's like, there's things that you as a spotter have to see before your driver. Try to make it as easy as you can. So yeah, there'll be a lot of chatter going back and forth.
I sing when I'm driving.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
You do.
I'll make Mario Brothers sounds and
you do it in the shower and then you come in. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Gotcha. Hope you got a good voice.
Oh, that's beautiful. Even Eddie Express even says, man, you got a good voice for radio. So it works out pretty well. Tom chimed in again and said, tell Cory to stay away from Kenny Bernstein's dragster wing. So one of the days we're going to get that story out of you. So he's throwing it out of the stuff at you.
Killing me. Luckily, my memory is not what it used to be. So a lot of the bad stuff I've blocked out. So
anyhow, man, I'm glad we were able to get you on here to talk about it, to kind of get that burden off your chest. It's, you know, it's obviously been a difficult time for all of us to plan around this, and
it's tough. And I apologize to everybody. I mean,
Cameron said, yeah, he does sing.
Yeah, God. Hey, Cam, just that you know that scares me a little bit. Okay. So,
I can tell you what Cam sounds like when we're upside down.
oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
It's like that little, you know, my daughter, if you basically, if there's a bug or a, you know, little shriek, and he doesn't do well with blood. Trust me, he does not do well with blood.
Well, I've been upside down on fire, and pretty much everything I've driven, I get it. Believe me, there's been times where it's like, get me out of here. So,
worst crash. That was one of the ones that somebody asked me right now, says, what would be his worst crash? The Fram car crash?
The Fram car crash was the worst looking crash. I mean,
Nasty.
but I was able to walk away from that one. And the only scratch I ended up with was a scratch on my helmet. When the safety safari got there, I was already crawling out of the car, and they shoved me to the ground and scratched my helmet. I was like, man, you guys scratched my helmet. So, and then by far the Rockingham crash, where it turned upside down.
Tom said Rockingham.
And it was, you know, unfortunately, Jimmy Prock and I were just learning together. We had a dry sump on the car that was hidden behind one of the kickouts. And you can't do that anymore, obviously, but we didn't realize, you know, that could be such a bad thing to happen. What happened is, as the wing broke, and I was racing Scott Coletta, luckily missed him and hit the guardrail. When it came down, that tank broke and put oil in the whole cockpit. Oh. So as soon as that lit up, it was like, put him out and a light back up, put him out, light back. Believe me, I was screaming like a little, you know what, in there. I mean, it was, you know, because I'm
screaming like a Cameron.
It worked everything. I mean, I had first, second, third degree burns, life flight to the burn center in North Carolina, and I was there for about 10 days before they brought me home. And believe me, I had nothing, you know, nothing going on except for, when can you guys get a car together, and how long do I have to be out of the car? My whole hands were burnt on both sides. Leg was burnt. Face was completely burnt. I'm actually surprised I have eyebrows now.
Why do you got to bring up eyebrows, dude? First Tom from freaking Cold Hard Art. Tom, I got brows, bro. See? I mean, you're verifying this.
I'm verifying. I'm seeing it.
They're just really light color because it's summer.
And I noticed mine like go crazy. Like I got that. I'm like, dude, is that like an old man thing?
Yeah, it is.
Or is it just that, you know, I like to, you know, keep your stuff groomed, man. I mean, look good. So yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. I was very lucky. I spent all the time at home, 10 weeks, you know, and couldn't even, you know, wipe your own butt. I mean, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So everything wrapped up. So the gal I was going with at the time, she was able to do the nurse part, but they just set up stuff. I mean, the pills and everything. So I'd be down there on shoving the pills down there, and then grab a thing of water with a straw in it and drink it. But there was a lot of time. You know, my daughter was very small then. She was only a year old, not even a year old. She was younger than that. So I got lots of really cool pictures of bandages and stuff all over me. And then she's asleep with me on the couch. So when I get back and look at those pictures, I'm thinking, you know, by the grace of God, I made it through. But, you know, the coolest thing was recovery mode was just me and my kid the whole time.
That's awesome.
And that was really cool to have Courtney there with me.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. Yeah. I challenge you guys and encourage you to go look them up on YouTube. I did, and they're
God, yeah.
Rockingham was disgusting.
It was sick.
They said you rolled like 11 times or something crazy.
Just getting up and having that. But by far, the highlight reel was just awesome with the Fram car. You know, I mean, I still look at it to this
snapping
day.
In half, man. I don't know how cool that is, but
and the story
sounds like a good idea, dude.
Yeah. And I'll throw a quick one out there. So that crash happens. They life flight me out, and as they're going up in the helicopter, there's a communications line that goes across the track, and all of a sudden I hear one of the pilots yell. Now I'm locked in. So, I mean, I don't have the best view in town, but I'm locked in, strapped down. That thing, they hit that helicopter, got close to it. He drops down. Everybody comes out of their seats, and the nurse is holding like the IV in me, rips it out of my arm. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And so almost 2 wrecks at one time. Okay. Which I don't know how that one would have turned out. But I remember getting to the hospital. They really were taking great care of me. They had me on the thing. He brings out the shears to cut the fire. I said, don't you dare cut the fire. It's the only one I got, and I'll be racing in 2 days. So they're looking at me like, yeah, right, dude. Okay. So I'm in there. They're doing all their stuff. You got to do this and this before you can leave. And I'm doing what they say and calling mom, letting them know, hey, you're about to see this on TV. It looks ugly, but I'm good. And I hear this guy screaming in the background. Who in the heck is that? And he's all, I hear this. He's my brother. Oh, I'm going. Will you just tell me where he's at? Here comes Gary Selzy blazing through the doors, bumps him open, looks at me and goes, dude, I thought you were dead. I'm like,
with his big old mustache hanging down.
And he's over there. God, he's got his arms around me. And, you know, everybody's like really upset by that point. And it's like, man, I was back at the track 2 a.m. that night. And Don Schumacher had already grabbed one of our spare cars from Indy and had a guy bringing it up to us. Wes Cerny and all the guys, Tony Short, they put that car together and they had it ready for me on Sunday morning. Now, was I ready? Not really. I mean, I wasn't to the sore part yet. I mean, I just was that apprehensive, like, holy moly, here we go. I know they say get back on the horse quick. That might have been just a little bit too quick. And we lost first round. I think Hot Rod Fuller beat me. We ran like 84 or something. I mean, but we still went A to B. And got the end of the track, I was just like, okay. Thought I was going to have the big one there for a minute. But, you know, it actually it really put me in that mindset of, okay, we're good. Let's move forward and get back to it. I'd say I think we won 3 races later. We won in Richmond with that car.
Man,
so that put
cool.
Fram on the map. That's a big town for Fram. And I was elated because it really kind of put me in that, all right, kid, you still have what it takes. Let's keep moving forward. So, you know, it is what it is, but it's fun to get back and talk about it and some of the funny stories you hear from any other drivers.
You're able to live and tell about it. That's always a bonus.
Yeah, definitely.
Check out, and they walked away NHRA series.
Oh, yeah.
He's quite popular on that show.
They used to do those Diamond P highlight reels, and man, it was like, why am I in every one of these? You know, it's amazing. So I've had a lot of people say, you're using those 9 lives up like a cat, you know. But at the same time, it is the best sport. It is very passionate. I love it. And I love all the people that really are in it. Really do.
Man, it's cool. And thank you. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me for another hour and sharing stories with the audience and our loyal followers. You know, we've really grown this concept of the EMPI Insider from nothing into something pretty important and impactful. I mean, we had, you know, over 100 people watching today live on a live feed. Pretty damn cool.
Yes.
And that's just all at one time. That doesn't include all the ins and outs. And so I really enjoy it. And I pay tribute to guys like you to come on and spare an hour with me and hang out and to share my passion for everything car related, including slot cars.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's cool. So appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate you guys letting me be on again, and you guys in the background that don't normally get to get all the accolades. I appreciate all you guys do, and because I couldn't plug in an erector set, let alone this this here. So I appreciate it, and I look forward to next time we get to do this.
Man. Thanks. So there you have it. You know, we're gonna wrap it up for today. To stay up to date again, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, please go to the EMPI Insider Facebook and YouTube pages. Follow, subscribe, and smash that bell button for the notifications of everything that we're trying to do here. A lot of cool new things coming out. A lot of great new equipment we're going to be testing. We're going to do a lot of live work coming up on the YouTube channel specifically. Got a new drone system set up and an amazing 20 megapixel camera. So you're going to see a lot of this stuff at the off-road races that we're going to be doing. And there's so many good things that we're coming out of this show and really, you know, what EMPI Insider is all about. And it's just sharing my passion and love for everything car related and motorsports and giving you guys an opportunity to ask questions, work on cool new things like the caliper that you guys seen before from the Willwood, the new beautiful billet caliper, whether it be the Hot Wheels or the M2 toys that we're designing and developing and putting out. So we just really say thanks. Because none of this could be possible without you guys and the support. And thanks to all the loyal followers that have been on this episode today and chiming in and, cracking us up and hanging out and shooting the breeze. Eric and Dom and all the guys, we love it. And we thank you. Again, September 5th and 6th, Sacramento Buggle-Rama coming up. Definitely one of the few West Coast we're going to have. Then you've got October 18th, Fast Times at Farmington, Carolinas. And then October 25th, you've got the Drag Day at Irwindale Speedway. More recently, or obviously more recent coming is July 17th and 18th at Glen Helen. That'll be the Class 11 shootout along with all the other trophy trucks and everything else will be going out there. I encourage you to come out. It's going to be a 2-day event. It's like $10 to come and hang out, camping available. We're going to come out and smash. And then we're going to go to Snore Race, State Line the very following weekend. And it's a night race. So first time night racing in a Class 11 shall be interesting, but we're going to give it a good whirl, and we'll hopefully keep the shiny side up this time. So anyhow, thank you so much. Again, we'll see you guys next week on your EMPI Insider Show. I'm Cory. Be good humans. We'll see you later. Gotta love the old car.